Okay, we'll start. So last class we discussed about submitting, right? We discussed submitting class B and submitting class A I started with. So what I'll do is, guys, if you want the solution first, I wanted to add this in this class first itself. I forgot to say in the last class. The solution for submitting. Okay, maybe I gave you the solution for class B. Maybe class A, I asked you guys to do it by yourself. So if you want the solution for submitting class A, then you can check in the ebook, right? I've already shared the ebook in the group also. You guys are new. For them, I'll just tell them. Maybe people are watching recordings can know that also. Networkgeek.in, right? You can go to our website, networkgeek.in, and then you can search for ebook. Okay, just ebook.pdf. So when you go to this ebook, let me just show you where exactly it is. So if you scroll down, basically you have submitting class A. Okay, so submitting class A. So you can see the questions that I've given. Here all the answers are here. The solutions are here. Okay. Yes. So go and check that once you do the submit exercises, you can also do the solution book. Also, I'll try to add that in the LMS also. Right? In LMS also, I'll try to add the solution for class A submitting. Okay. So yes, so we'll start today. So today's topic is going to be we completed security, right? We're going to start with router security and then console. So today's plan is to cover you know these three topics: router security, in console interface security. And then I think tomorrow we can start this and we can complete OSPF also. Right, and I think we can finish it. Please, no issues, right? We have four more classes including today's class, so we should be able to finish it. Okay. So all the further topics we're gonna have it as basics only. So it should be sufficient for me to finish the remaining session in four classes. Yeah. Okay. So we'll start. We're gonna start with router security today. See again, router security. I'm gonna discuss only the basics of router security here. I'm not gonna deep dive. So usually, I take 2 hours to discuss router security in my actual class, but here it's just going to be 30 minutes, right? So we cannot discuss more because we have many topics yet to complete. Yeah, so I'm just going to start with router security. What is router security? How can you secure a router? Those things and all. Okay. So when it comes to router security, there are two ways of securing router security. Let me write it clearly. Router security. You have two ways. One is the physical security. So physical means you can physically secure the router. Maybe you can just put in inside the room. Right? You can put the router inside the room and you can lock the room. Hey, that's a physical security game. And we're not going to discuss about the physical security here. Right? I'm not going to tell you how to put a router inside the room and lock it. We all know that physically we have to secure the router. We cannot have the router, we cannot make anyone reach the physical location of the router. So router have to be physically isolated and kept in a, maybe you can have it in a room, or maybe usually what people do is they'll have it in a rack. Okay. So they'll have it in a rack. So there are many, there are network racks we have. Right inside the network rack, we'll have the router and they'll lock the rack also. Yes. So now I'm going to discuss about the other way of router security, which is the logical security. Right? Not the physical one, the logical one. The logical router security. Or is there a logical security? So by this time, you might have already identified what is this. Logical security means, I mean by putting a password. Okay. So put a password to the router so that if someone has access to the router, still they'll not be able to log in because it will ask for the password, right? So I'm just going to discuss about how to secure the router with a password. So in password, there are multiple ways to do it, right? You can secure the router with multiple ways of setting a password. One is you can have a plain text password. So plain text password. The other one is you can have an encrypted password. You can encrypt the password with encrypted password. Okay, and also the third one is we're gonna hash the password. So hash the password. So I'll tell you what is hash and all. Okay, so hash the password. So these are the three ways we're gonna have. So this is not recommended because plain text is not good. Encrypted is also not good. So hash password is what the right one is. So first let's start with setting a normal password and see it in plain text. Okay. So now I just want to introduce one more command before I start the lab. Please. Before we start the lab and start the very Okay, I'll go to CCNA Bootcamp. Okay, maybe I don't have the lab, please. So please just give me a minute. Let me add the lab over here. Just give me a minute, please. Okay, so I'm going to take this router security lab, and there you have one Linux machine. Maybe let me delete it. Not required for you guys. Okay, so yes, let me start with this router, guys. I'm just going to start this router. Yeah. So yes. So now, so first I just want to talk about this command. So there is a command called, we know how many show commands that we have seen this. We have seen a command called show the IP interface free. So IP INT BR. Okay, and also we have a command called show IP route. Okay, that is to see the routing table of the router, or maybe show IP route static to see the static routing table. And also we have used the command called show clock also. I think you guys remember that show clock. Okay, so show clock also we have used. Then what else? What are other show commands that I've used? Okay, I'm not sure, but I think few commands we have used, right? So show IP interface group, show IP route static, show clock. Now I'm going to introduce one more show command to you guys, which is show run. So what is the actual full command is show running config. This is the actual command, show running config. And this command is so special. The reason is because whatever you wanted to, whatever configurations that you have done on the router, you can see this with this one single command called show running config. Okay. I'll show you right now what is the output of show running config. So I'll just click on this router and show you the output. This is really important command. Okay, I don't have time enough to discuss about this command in this course, but this is a very important command. So I'm going to use show running config. When I give the output of this, you can see what and all I have got. See what version of OS it is running, right? What is the host name that we have got that is there, right? And maybe you can see there is something called DHCP configuration, right? So we have DHCP configuration that is there. The router, you can see the interface IP address is there, right? And also what is the other interface IP address we have here. So running configuration is one command which helps you to see all the status of the router, right? Okay, let me just go ahead and do this. I'm just going to change the host name, base. Host name R1. I'm just going to change the host name to R1. Now, where I can see this, I can see this in the running configuration. So here the command is do show run. It's actually show run only, but here since I'm in the configuration mode, I'm giving do show run. When I give do show run, can you see host name has been changed to R1? Why? Because I gave that command over here. So whatever command I type in the configuration mode, I can see that in the running configuration. Okay. The same way you can see all these commands I've already typed. Right. I kept these configurations done already, and that is why you are seeing it. Okay. So now this command, right, host name R1 is what I just did right now. So that is also available in the running configuration. Okay. So now show running config is a very useful command, and what you can get from that command is right all the present configuration, all the running configuration, or you can say present configuration of the okay. Let's go and do this, right? So now I'm going to set the password to the router. Okay. So to set the password, right, set the password to the enable. So when you are in the enable mode, sorry, when you're in the user mode, so basically when you're in the user mode, you have a terminal like this, right? Router, and then this greater than symbol, and you type en, and you go to the router enable mode. Okay. So when you set the password, this is where exactly the password prompt will happen. So once you set the password, so once you give en, instead of getting access to the enable mode directly, the router will ask you for the password. So this is the place the router will ask for the password. So once you give the right password, only then you will be able to log in into the enable mode of the router. Got it? So here I'm going to set the password. The command is very simple. Enable password Cisco 123. Let's have this as the password field. Okay, so this is the syntax thing. So enable password is a syntax, and this is my password. So right now the password of my router is Cisco 123. Okay, let me exit again. Right now I'm in the user mode. You can see now when I give en, it asks for the password. But usually when I give en, it takes me to the enable mode. Right now it's asking for the password. The password is Cisco 123. Okay, so now now when I type the password, you can see I'm into the router's now enable mode. Right here, see this guy. When I'm typing the password here, is actually the password is here. Okay, but it is actually hidden. Right? You'll not be able to see the password when you type. you're not even gonna get star, star, star and all, right? So when you type password, nothing will show up here, but believe that your passwords are taken, right? So if nothing is showing up, don't keep typing the password again and again. Okay, it's not when you type the password, it won't show up. But it doesn't matter that you're not typing the password. You can type the password, it will not show up, but when you give enter, it will take the password. Yeah. So I've configured I've logged into the right password, so that is why I'm able to hit the enable mode, right? Let me type the wrong password and then show you how the output is like. Okay, when I give en, when I give now let me see ASDF, I'm just giving randomly something. I can see the password is not correct. That is why it's asking me the password again. Let me type hello. Okay, again, it's not the right password. So when I type the password Cisco123, it takes me to the okay. So only when you type the right password, you get access to the enable mode of the router. Okay. So good. Now let's go and use this command by show running config. So when I give show running config, you can see that this is a command I gave earlier. So this is a host name command, and also what command I recently configured. If you guys see what command I gave here, please scroll up. The command was what? Enable password Cisco123. Okay, that password I configured. Now when I check the password in the running configuration right now by giving this command called show running config, you can see that the command is available in the running configuration, and it has got what? It has got the password clearly, right? It says the enable password Cisco123, right? That line, the command that I gave exactly, it is available in my running configuration. See, this is very dangerous because the reason is, assume I'm giving show run command, right? Just think about the scenario. I'm giving show running config. And show running config is for what? So what is the purpose of giving show running configuration? Show running configuration will give you all the details, right? Maybe even if you want to see the IP address of the interface, IP address of the interface, then also you can use this command called show running config. So assume that I'm giving show running config just to see the IP address of this interface. I want to see what IP address is configured inside this interface. For that, I'm giving show running config. So meanwhile, along with the other IP address configuration things and all, it is also showing me all. It is also showing me the enable mode password, right? Which is really dangerous because why I'm saying it's dangerous is assume that I'm configuring my router. Okay, one of my friends is just coming, and he's just talking to me. So when he was talking to me, I just gave his command. I was configuring. I was doing my work. He's sitting next to me and talking to me. That time when I give show running config, he can see the running configuration because I gave the command. He's just sitting next to me. He's talking to me, and I gave show running configuration to see something else. Right? I just want to see something else. I want to see this information and all. But meanwhile, along with other information, what is also shown? Enable password is also shown. Right now, my friend knows if he sees my screen this time, he knows the password is what? He knows the password is Cisco123. Right? So it is not a good idea to store the password as clear text. I hope you guys understood. Right? You should never store your password in clear text because it is really dangerous. Because by mistake, when you give show running configuration and you are sitting along with someone, and that guy can also see what is the password that you have given to the router. A chance of it. So you should never store your password in clear text. So what is the other way? So if you don't want to store the password, now you understood that storing the password in plain text or clear text is not a good idea because if someone, when you give this command, it shows the password also, right? And while you use this command, if someone else is seeing your monitor, they may also know what the password of the router is, right? So it's not a good idea. So let's go and encrypt the password, right? This is one of the the good ideas we have, but let's go and see, right? Instead of having it plain text, we'll just go and use encrypted password. So how do I encrypt my password? So I can encrypt the password with a command. I can just go to the configuration mode. I can say uh, service password encryption. Can use the command. I'm going to use service password encryption, and I give enter. It's going to encrypt my password. So whatever I have in the running configuration right now, when I give do show run, whatever I have in the running configuration, now can you see guys? Earlier it was what? Before the encryption, it was showing the actual password, right? After the encryption, it is giving me the encrypted password, right? So now this 7 says it is level 7 encryption, right? There are in encryptions, you have multiple levels, guys. I'm not going to get into those things and all really here. If you're really interested in learning, these things are cryptographical concepts. If you're really interested in learning cryptography, I would recommend you to check our LMS portal, right? So recently we uploaded a free course for cryptography, which you guys can go and purchase, right? So here you can see, cryptography proxy server, right? Again, it is trained by me only. You can go and purchase this course for free, and it is somewhere around, some 12 hours of recordings we have got. So cryptography, if you are really interested in encryption, decryption, certificate authorities, proxy servers, you can just go and take this course for free. Okay. Yeah. So that's a free course recently we added last week only. So if you're interested, you can go and purchase, not purchase, you can just get it for free. And there you will, find all the cryptography concepts, right? If you're really interested, go and do it. Here we don't have time to discuss cryptography completely. That is itself, right? This 12 hours, course. It is 12 hours, somewhere around 12 you'll have. So please take it for free and learn encryption if you're really interested in. Okay, so encrypting password. It's actually okay, fine. It has got level 7. What is it, level 7 and all? It is clearly explained in that particular course. So you can go and take it. So now here, this is the encrypted text, and it has been doing level 7 encryption. Okay, that is why you have it 7 over there. So enable password, and then 7 means it is an encrypted password. The number of encryption levels are 7, and this is an encrypted password. Now, if I use this command, right now I'm using this command in front of my friend also, right? You can just look into my monitor. When I use this command, hardly what you can see is you can just see only the encrypted text, not the actual password, right? So here, we feel that it is actually, safe, right? Because if someone sees a plain text, they know what the password is. But if the password is encrypted, if you feel it's safe, then we just need to, reconsider that. Let me go to the browser and search for, I'll just go to Google. Search for Cisco password cracker. Okay, so it is Cisco password cracker. When I click on this link, it will ask you for, it is asking for the type 7 password. That is what the level 7 is. Okay, so it's asking for the password, and when you crack it, it will give you the plain text. That is what the site is promising to us. Let's go and copy this, right? When I highlight, automatically it gets copied. Now I'm just going to go and paste it over here. Okay, so I've pasted the level 7 encrypted password. Now let me crack the password and see just in a single second, right? It just told me the password is Cisco123, right? Now that is why I say it's not recommended, because why? Because encryption is two-way things. So if someone is encrypting it, there is a person can do decrypt it also, right? So yes, so encrypting a password is not safe, because now you can see the website can decrypt the password, and it told us the real password is what? The real password is Cisco123. So you should never encrypt the password and store. Okay, so when you store the password, encrypting it is not a good idea. Okay, so next, how do I store my password? So we have to hash the password. What is hashing? See, hashing is basically a one-way function, right? So if you see encryption, so basically encryption, what happens is you give a plain text, and then you send it to the encryption algorithm. Right? There are so many encryption algorithms that we have, encryption algorithm. And then the output is going to be ciphertext. You can call it a ciphertext or maybe encrypted text. I'll call it a ciphertext here. Again, when you give the ciphertext back to the same encryption algorithm, it can decrypt and it can give you the plain text. So that is how the password was, it was able to reverse the password and told it the actual plain text is Cisco123. So this is what encryption, decryption, they are two opposite processes. So any algorithm that supports encryption, the same algorithm will support the decryption also. So while you store the password, it is not good. So instead, we want some kind of a one-way function. So one-way function means we don't want the reverse of it, just only one-way function. So hashing is a one-way function. So I'm just going to take, so again, it's a computer program only, like how encryption is an algorithm. The same way, hashing is also an algorithm. Okay? Hash is also an algorithm. Okay, now when you give any input, right? So if you give any input to the hash algorithm, maybe you can give your password or whatever password you have. If you just give that password to the hash generator or hash algorithm, it's going to give you. So here we call it a ciphertext, right? For encryption, we call it a ciphertext. So what is the output of hashing? The technical name for hashing is, we're going to call it as a digest. You can call it like digest, or you can call it as digest, actually, digest. And then hash, you can call it as hash, or even you can call it as checksum. So many people might have heard about this particular word called checksum. So what is checksum? Checksum is nothing but the result of the hash algorithm, right? When you give it doesn't need to be a password piece. You can give any input, right? You can give any input. You give the input in plain text format to the hash algorithm, to the hash generator, and it will convert it to the checksum, right? It will convert it to the checksum, which is checksum or hash or digest. So this is the name of the output that we get. coming from the hash generator, right? Here you call it as a ciphertext, right? Encrypted text or ciphertext. The same way here, we call this digest or hash or checksum. They are same, different words, same meaning. Comparatively, when you compare digest and hashing, checksum is little popular. You can see in many sites the word called checksum. Okay. So now let's go and hash it. So we don't have to. There is no way to reverse it actually. Okay, let me go to the same router. Like instead of encrypting the password, I'm just gonna hash the password. So first I'm gonna say no enable password. Right. So I'm just gonna remove the password. So whenever you want to remove something in Cisco, you always give no. And then I created a password with this command, right? Enable password. Now I'm gonna remove that password with no. I just say I don't want. I know enable password. So it's gonna remove the enable password and we're going to set the hash for it, right? So the way to set the hash is the command is enable secret, right? If you use the word called secret, now it's going to hash so that it doesn't come back. Okay, Cisco 123. Okay, so now I'm just going to hash it. Okay, it's not encrypting this case, there is a difference, right? Encryption and hashing has got a lot of differences. I would strongly recommend you guys to check my free cryptography course to very well understand the difference between hashing and encryption. Okay. Yes, so let's go to this okay, running configuration. We do show run now. Okay, you can see that this, can you see the output piece? Okay, this is the hash, right? And what this file says is, see, there are many hashing algorithms that we have got, right? One of the very popular hashing algorithm is MD5. Okay, it is kind of outdated right now, but still very popular. And we have something called SHA-1 secure hash algorithm, a SHA-2 secure hash algorithm 2. We have till 3 also. Okay? It's SHA-3 is also there. So these are the popular algorithms based. So basically, when you give an input to these algorithms, right, they do some kind of some work inside them, and they're gonna give the checksum, right? Or you can call it as hash also. So checksum or hash or digest. See, so they do it in a different way. MD5 is kind of weak right now. Okay, it was a very old protocol, very old algorithm, but that is what Cisco is using by default. So this 5 says that this hash has been computed with the help of MD5 algorithm. That is what it says. Okay. Now let's go to the same website, right? So now, right now, it has been hashed. So you see, it's more stronger than encrypting it. Okay, now we'll go to the same website and see. Okay, now what the website says is, have you got a type 5 password? Because type 5 is what I mean by MD5. So it says you got a type 5 password, right? You want to break it, please try our enable secret password cracker. So it was earlier cracking the encrypted content. Now it says I can even crack the hashing. I can also decrypt, or I can also reverse the hash of it. Let me click on that link, and now it's asking me to give the MD5 hash. Right? Again, I'm just going to copy this also. Right? I think it's already highlighted. Let me just select this, okay, and put it in this place. Right now, let me give crack password and see what happens. What happens? See, immediately it found this password also. Hey, then where is the solution? Okay. See, of course, hashing cannot be reversed. I still go with that point, right? So hashing can never be reversed. That's why I told initially, hashing is a one-way function. So if you give something on this side, if it computes the hash, there is no way you can go back to the original text, right? There is no way. I'm not going to take back my word. Hashing is irreversibility. So when you hash something, or when you use a hash generator, or when you use a hash algorithm, right? And when you give some input, right here, the input that I've given is Cisco 123. That is the input I give to the hash generator. Now I got a hash outside. Okay. And that hash can never be reversed back. It's a one-way function. But in that case, how the site was able to find out that it is Cisco 123? Okay. See, I'm not going to talk about it because of the time constraint, but I'll tell you what it was doing. It was doing some kind of a trial and error method. Yeah, or maybe you can call it like, brute force. That is the right word to use. So there is an attack called brute force attack. It is using that attack to find out what the password was. See, then what makes hashing so special? If someone can use a brute force attack and they can reverse it, then what is the advantage of having a hash algorithm is? See, brute force is actually one way to find out the passwords, but brute force works only on easy passwords. Okay, I'll simply finish it like this. So it's going to work only on easy passwords. So which means if you use a password very easy, for example, Cisco 123 is a very easy password, right? Many people who teaches networking, specifically Cisco CCNA course and all, they always use Cisco 123 as the the lab password, right? For the lab devices, this is the most used password. So it is kind of similarly easy password to guess, and that is why the website took the hash and it was able to say it is Cisco 123 because it was using an attack called brute force attack, and the password was also easy, right? Now, when I try to give a strong password, right, that is very, very important. If I try to set a strong password, then it is going to be impossible for the router to identify what password or what exactly it is, right? So instead of using Cisco 123 as my password, I'm going to use enable secret. I'm going to use a hash. I'm just going to use what maybe let's say ng at the rate of CCNA. Right? We just use this password. This is the password right now, and I'm just going to give enter, and we'll just go and see the running configuration now. Now this is a new hash. Okay, this is a new password right now. This is a new hash. Let me give this to the website and we'll see whether he's finding it out or not. Okay. So I'm just going to go and paste the recently copied hash, this hash, right? What is the original text? What is the original content? ng or CCNA, or is it ng at CCNA? ng at CCNA, right? ng at CCNA. Okay, let me just try to crack the password. It's not gonna do that. Right? Because why? Because now since the password is very complex, since it's not an easy guessing password, it's going to take a lot of time, maybe more than a month or a year of time to find out what the password is. Right? Again, I would recommend you to have even more complex password please. So if you just set it as CCNA at the rate of ng at the rate of CCNA, even at some point of time it becomes an easy password. So I just want you to have a password which is so complex, maybe at least some 15 characters if you set a password, then it becomes more difficult to guess it, right? And that is why when you go and create any account in any website, for example, it's Facebook or Gmail or Instagram, wherever it is, right? When you go and set the password, what the website is asking you to meet the complexity, right? So they at least want you to have some 10 characters, right? Maybe one special characters, one lowercase, one uppercase, at least, and one number. So they are making the a password complexity more so that it is difficult for anyone to guess your password. So we know that, right? Setting easy password is easy to guess. So at the same time, when you set a difficult password, it is difficult to guess. And the site was able to find out Cisco 123 earlier, even though the hash was given, it was able to find out Cisco 123 because it was not trying to reverse it. It was not trying to reverse it. It was just guessing the passwords one by one. And finally, it was able to guess that it's Cisco 123 because it was a very easy password. But the moment when I set the password to ng at CCNA, okay, so this is not an easy password to guess, right? The site cannot guess it easily. That is why it is taking some time. You can see still it's going, right? The brute force still it's going on. It's not going to end so quickly. It's going to take some time. Again, depending on the complexity of the password, the guessing time may even range from 1 day to maybe 100 years also. Okay, if your password is really tough, it'll take hundreds of years for the website to guess your password. So having a complex password and storing them in the hash format, right? Store the password in hash so it cannot be reversed. And hashing is definitely one method you guys have to use to store the password. And also, you need to, even though if you are storing in hash, please have a strong password. Okay, so that is what even the website is saying. Which was cracking the password. No, okay, what happened? Wait, did I post? Maybe it was posted. Okay, we'll just go and open it again. Cisco enable Cisco password cracker. I'll just go. This is the first one that we cracked, normal encrypted password, and this is the hash password. Right. So now, what is the if you see the moral of the story, if you guys could see here, what is the moral of the story? The moral of the story is what? Don't use stupidly simple passwords. Only if you use a simple password, then the hash can even be easily guessed. So that is why you should not use the simple password. Okay. Yeah. So now I'm just gonna finish it, guys. I told you I spend more time to teach hashing in my classes. Actually in CCNA class I take more time, but here the basic content, so we're just finishing it over here. What is the best way to store the password? Yeah, hashing, right? So can I have a easy guessing password? Even if it is hash, can I have a easy guessing password? No, right? You have to use hash method so that it is irreversible. And also in the hash also, you should not use any password that is easy to guess, right? Use a strong password a complicated password so that people cannot easily guess what the password is. Okay. Yes. So with this, we'll go to the next topic. So router security is done. So easy to secure the router. Just you have to use these commands, and also in the LMS, right? I'm giving the commands also for every topic. As soon as I teach any topic, the commands are also given. So please check the LMS if you wanted to really configure the router, and if you don't know where the commands are, you can go and check in the LMS, NG LMS. There, after the recording is uploaded, next you can see the commands over there. Okay. Yes. Now let me go to the console option. Okay, this is also very important. Okay, I'm quickly completing topics because we have more topics to complete, less time. So I'm just fast forwarding the topics. Okay, just give me a minute. Yeah. So here we have console connection, right? That's another important topic that we have. See, in the console connection, what I really wanted to teach is the console connection is not actually a topic, but it is a way of working with the router. That's it. Okay. So now we have used two applications so far, right? Let me put it in this way. We have used Cisco Packet Tracer to practice basic networking, and also we use NG Labs, right? That is where most of the time we are spending on, right? NG Labs. Most of the labs we are doing on NG Labs, and few labs we are using on Packet Tracer also. See, in both applications, whether it's Cisco Packet Tracer or NG Labs, when you have a router, how you get the CLI of the router, please? How you get the CLI of the router? Right? So there is an icon, and when you click on the icon, what happens? You get the CLI of the router. Am I right? Yes. So you get the CLI just by clicking on the icon. But how a router can be configured in real time? So you know how the router looks like, right? So if you see the physical router, you know how the view of the router is. The view of the router is going to be like this, right? Or maybe I'll show you. I have an image. When I go to the CPT lab folder, I can find the images over there. This is how the router physically looks like. Okay. So what is also please wait. Okay. So yes, so you have the router. This is the back end of the router, back side of the router. So generally, this is how the device looks physically, correct? This is a physical device. When you buy a router, once you unbox it, you're gonna have a device like this, right? This is the front end of the router. And if you want to see the back end of the router, I can show you that also. Sorry, this is the back end of the router. If you want to see the front end, I can show you. This is one model, guys. Not all models looks the same way. So this is the front side of this router, and this is the back side of this router, right? So how they look physically, right? Can I go and click anywhere in this router? This is a physical box, right? Can I go and click on the router anywhere? No. So which means you have to understand how we work on the lab and how the physical device, the real device can be configured. So in our lab, we have a router, right? We have an icon of the router. It looks like this. When you click on this icon, you get the CLI, correct? Either it's Packet Tracer or NG Lab, you just click on it and you get the CLI of the device. But how you get the CLI of the physical router, right? How do you configure this router, which is going to look like this? You cannot go and click anywhere, right? Because this is just a physical device, right? And there is a back end of the router, so you cannot basically go and click anywhere, guys. Not like you have to understand the difference, right? In physical environment, it's a physical box, but in the lab, it's just an icon. So how you configure physical router like this? Okay, that is what we are trying to understand right now. See, you might have seen there is an interface in Cisco router, which is basically called as a console interface. If you have not noticed it, now notice it. So that this is a back end of the router, back side of the router, and here you can see there is a console interface. Can you see this console interface? Yes. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a console cable. So you can buy a console cable. This is not our normal LAN cable base. Console cables are different. Yeah, I can go to Google and show you the image of the console cable. Okay, console cable. I'll just go images. It's a very small. It's not that cost a lot. Right? You can buy it for some 500 rupees in the. Now let me take this as an example. Okay, 1,000 rupees. Quality differs. Even this might be a quality cable. That's why it's more than 1,000. But you can buy it for 500, 600 rupees and all. Okay. I'm gonna copy this image and then take one more paint application. Okay, so this is the console cable, right? These are the console cable looks like. This is not our normal LAN cable, right? This is the console cable. So this end of the cable, right? Or maybe I'll talk to this end of the cable. So this end of the cable will you need to connect to the router. Yeah, where in the router? In the console port of the router. So you know how the router looks. This is how the router looks like. So this is a console port. So what I need to do is I need to take a cable like this, and this end I need to connect to the console interface of the router. Can you understand? This side should go to the, this end of the cable should go to the console interface of the router, right? The other end, right? The other side of the console cable, you need to connect it to the, you can, inside, this is USB. Yeah, this is a USB. So you can connect this to the USB port of your laptop, right? Assume that you have your laptop with you. It can be laptop or desktop, whatever it is, it doesn't matter. Okay, assume that we try to, this is my laptop, okay? Okay, so here I have my keyboards. This is one of these. Okay, this is my monitor. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this cable and I'm going to connect this cable into the USB port of my laptop. See, this is a physically you can connect. If someone gives you a physical router and asks you to configure IP address to these interfaces, then what you need to ask them, right? You need to ask them the console cable, and you can connect the console cable to your laptop, right? And then only you can start configuring your router, right? So you cannot just like that configure a router in any other way. So you need to connect to the router physically. So the router should be with you, and then the cable should be with you. You need to connect to the laptop, and then only you can configure. In packet tracer, again saying, in packet tracer, you click on that. But in real router, you cannot click on anywhere. Real router, you need to do this connection to configure. Okay. So once once the router is connected like this, now what should I do on this laptop? See, there are many applications that we have, which is used in this particular case. So I'm going to use an application called Putty. Some people call it as Putty. Some people call it as Putty. I call it like Putty. Okay, so there are many applications, right? Not just one application. One Putty is there, and Windows they ship their OS with one application called Hyper Terminal. That is a system. I mean, not Cisco, I think Microsoft. Microsoft they ship their OS with this Hyperterm, but now they have stopped it. Now they are not doing it. I think Windows 10, Windows 7 till Windows 7 they were shipping it. Now they are not shipping it. But this application is available to download, right? You can have a Hyperterminal, or there is something called I use Secure CRT. That is what I use here. So Secure CRT. So you can see when I search for Putty, okay. So Putty the application is there. I can use this application, or maybe I can use Secure CRT. This application, right? These are the applications which I need to install on my laptop. Okay. So assume I've installed the Putty, because Putty is very popular. Most of the people they use Putty. Let me take Putty as an example. Right. I take Putty and I search for Putty and I just click on the Putty application. So assume I'm opening the Putty application in this PC. So after the application is open, right, you need to choose the serial option. Okay, can you see the serial option here? Choose the serial option, right, and just go with the default settings. There's nothing to change over here, and then click on open. Okay, so what you're trying to do here is you are connecting the laptop and the router with the console cable, and then you need to open the Putty application, and in the Putty application you have to choose the connection type as serial. Okay, once you choose the connection type as serial and when you give OK, from your laptop the application will go out of this cable and it will talk to the router, right? And then the router will give the response. The router will give you the CLI, which you can again see on the same application. You understand? So you use Putty to configure your router. That is what I'm actually trying to say. Okay, so this can be easily, we can do it in Cisco Packet Tracer. So in Cisco Packet Tracer, I can show you really. So let me open Packet Tracer and show you how exactly this can be done. Okay, so what and all we need? So usually in Packet Tracer, we drag and drop a router like this, right? And we click on them, correct? So in physical router, you cannot click anywhere because it's a physical box. So what we do? we take a laptop, right? Connect the laptop, just have the laptop, place the laptop somewhere near the router and take a cable, right? What cable we need? We need a console cable, right? Can you see there is a console cable, this second cable? Okay, I'm just gonna select the cable and I'm gonna connect to which port right now? Console port. Can you understand? Don't connect anywhere else. Connect to the console port of the router and now take it to the USB port. So this laptop doesn't have a USB port. That is why we are connecting to RS-232. This is another port also we have. So usually if it has got USB, you can connect to USB, but this laptop, this packet tracer laptop doesn't have that. So I'm just going to connect to RS-232. Okay. So yes, so this is, assume this is the USB port of this laptop. Okay. Now I'm going to click on this laptop, and from the laptop, I go to the applications. And which application I told? Any application like identity or security application. And they come under category, these applications, they come under category of terminal emulators. So we call them as terminal emulators. Okay, so they come into that category. So these are called as terminal emulator application category. So I go to my laptop that I have in my packet tracer. So okay, and now I'm going to click on this terminal, right? Can you see when I hover over here, can you see that text over there? Open the terminal emulator application and just click on this and give okay. So every other setting is default, just leave it and click on it. Now can you see, guys? I'm accessing the laptop, right? You can see now what I'm doing. I'm accessing the application from the laptop, right? And I give no. Now I'm using laptop, but inside that application, no, inside that terminal application, which device I'm accessing? I'm accessing the router. So hope you guys understood, right? How can we configure a real router? Real router can be configured in this way only. In packet tracer, we are just clicking on it. Right, in real time, you need a laptop, you need a cable, you need to connect the console port of the router, you need to connect to the USB port of the laptop, and you need to have an application like terminal emulator, PuTTY, for example, and then you have to just go and choose the connection type as serial, right, and then click on connect automatically. In this PuTTY application, you will be able to see the terminal of the router. Got the point? Okay. So router, you cannot connect the router to the monitor base. Like how you generally connect your CPU to the monitor. That way, you cannot connect your router to the monitor. There is no possibility. Router cannot be connected to the monitor. How can we then configure router? With the help of console port and then the console cable. Right? Console cable is required and connected to the console port of the router. Other end should be USB connected to the laptop, PuTTY application, serial connection. Just connect, you get the CLI of the router. Got the point? That is what I've done here. Usually, instead of clicking, usually we click on this icon. Now I'm not going to click on that icon because in real time that is not possible. So I take a laptop, connect the console cable between the router and the laptop. I took this terminal emulator application. I just gave okay. Now I got the access of the router. So this is how you basically access the physical router, right? So next time maybe in your office environment, if someone is giving you a router, right? Assume that they got a router in front of you, they're giving a physical box which is gonna look like this, right? They gave you a router like this, and they ask you to configure something on this router. Then what do you need to ask them? You need to ask for a console cable, right? And you need to have an application called PuTTY in your laptop, right? And then everything is possible. Okay. So yes. So now, what is the next point I want to discuss is now there is a way even to secure the console port of the router. Okay. Okay. Wait. Let me take this again. Okay. So now here, if you see, now you can even secure this console port. So usually, last time when we were talking about router security concept, okay, in router security, we were putting password for what? We were putting password for the enable mode, right? So anyone can log into the user mode. So router and anyone can go to the user mode. This is the user mode, right? You can type commands and all here. But the moment when you want to come into the enable mode, that is where it asks for the password, right? So when you type en, it asks for the password. So we configured password for the enable mode in router security, right? Just few minutes back we discussed, right? We were setting password to the enable mode of the router, right? For this mode only we set the password. But maybe if you want, you can even set the password to the console interface of the router, right? If you want, you can even set the password to this interface so that if someone brings their laptop, right, and they have they came near the router, and they also have a console cable with them. Now this stranger, right? This guy is a stranger. This guy who took a laptop and came to the router location, and he is connecting the console cable to the console port of the router. As soon as he connects to the console port of the router, and he is trying to logging into the router should ask for password, or he can ask for either you can set the password alone, or maybe the best practices ask for the username password, right? So that instead of having just a password, you can have username password combination so that you know which user is logging in. Okay, so now that's what we are trying to do right now. So we'll learn that on the same lab. I'll show you. Okay, here. Okay, so now En, now again it's asking for the password. The password is ng@CCNA. Okay, so I was able to log in. That's the enable mode password. Now I'm going to set the password for the console interface, right? Not for the enable mode. Enable mode password we discussed. This is for the console mode or console interface. So how can I do that is, first let me go and give line console 0. So I need to give this console. So if I wanted to configure the console interface, right? What is console interface? This is the console interface. If you want to configure this console interface, I need to give the command line console 0, right? This 0 says that there is a one and only console interface that we have got. So router models has got two console interfaces. So this console interface will be 0. This console interface will be 1. And since this router or this model of router has got only one console interface, we say that's the first interface by saying 1. Okay, line console 0, which means 1. If you have one more console interface, then that will be number 0 is the first console interface, 1 is the second console interface. So, but most of the routers I've seen so far, will have only one console interface. So basically, it's going to be line console 0. Okay, so I'll give line console 0, meaning that the first console interface or the only console interface. Okay, so I'm into the console interface router. Now what I can do is I can just go and say login. Okay, okay, it says right, login is disabled until you set a password, right? So if you didn't set a password and if you try to log in, then it's not going to be working. That's what I say login disabled. Okay, you need to set a password first. So let me set a password first with the command password, right? I'm just going to say the password is console password. Okay, and I set the password. Now when I try to connect, to this interface, it's going to ask for the password. Okay, and what is that password? The password is console password. Okay, yes. Now let's go and go and login. Type login right now. Now it says it didn't throw any error. Earlier it was throwing any error. It was throwing some error now, saying the login is disabled. Now I configured this password. Now I set to login also. Now what it will do is, now next time when someone is connecting into this interface, and when someone taking a cable, connecting the cable into the interface of the console interface of the router. Now it's gonna ask for the password, right? So I can do that by giving exit, exit, exit. Right? I'm just giving multiplexing, which means I'm logging out from the router and again logging in. It's kind of, you have to understand that I disconnect and connect it back. Okay, that kind of a feeling is what you need to have. When I give multiple times exit, 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 I'm logging out from the session, which means disconnecting the cable, disconnecting and then connecting it back. Okay, so yes, let's go and see now what is that. It's asking for what? It's asking for the password, right? Now, when I give enter, again, it's asking for what? It's asking for the password. Can you guys see? Yeah. Now, I need to give the password. What is the password? Console pass. Okay, I give the password wrong. Let me try one more time. Okay, so console pass. Okay, I was able to log in. Right, this is what console pass. We got two passwords. One password is for the console interface of the router. Okay, what is that? That is the console pass. Okay, the password is the console pass only. Right, after I give console pass, now in the laptop I get what? I get the CLI of the router. So in the CLI of the router, I'm in the user mode. If I further go to the enable mode, again, this is one more password we are having, that is for the enable mode of the router, which is ng@CCNA. Okay. Now, again, we got into the enable mode. From here, there is no way to protect it. So there is no specific password for the configuration mode and all. Right. So when you give conf, can we ask any password? There is no way you can set a password for the configuration mode. Okay. There are two ways you can set the password. One is you can set the password for the console interface. That is one way. That is the first place or one place. Console interface, you can set a password. And the next, once you cross the console interface, the next place to set the password is before the enable mode, right? Or in order to get into the enable mode, you can set the password. You can before enable mode. Before enable mode, you can set a password. So once you give the password, only then you get access to the enable mode. So these are the two places where we can set the password, but not anywhere else in the router. Okay. So now, yes, now we understood that how to set password to the console interface of the router. But always, guys, for many reasons, having just a password is not a good idea, right? You should never have a password alone, right? You need to have some kind of a username password. That combination is always very important and very good also. Maybe why username password is important. It has got many reasons which I cannot discuss right now, right? Just trust me, instead of having just a common password that is used by multiple administrators, assume that you have 10 administrators in your organization and everyone uses a common password to log into the router. Right now, if admin 1 logs in, admin 2 logs in, we don't know who's logging in and what they are doing. So instead of having a common password used by multiple network admins to log in into one single router, instead you can create a username password for each and every admin. Right? You can say admin number 1, you can have his username and password for him, which he alone knows it. You can have admin 2, right? And he can have his own password. Admin T, he can have his own password. So if you have 10 admins, all 10 admins, they have their own username password so that, they can log in with their username password and the router will know that at least who have logged in. Right? If you have a common password, then you will never know which admin is logging in. But when you have a username password, the router at least knows, okay, this is the username and this is the password. And that is useful in many cases. Okay. So let's understand how to set the instead of simply having the password for the console interface, we can have username password. Right? Again, I'm talking about the console interface. Right? Now, when you connect the cable, earlier it was just asking a password only. No, that was I was logging in. Now, instead of having password alone, now the router will ask for username password. So, which the user have to give. Both username and password the user have to give. Okay, so now let's go and configure it. How do we set username password? So first, let me go to line console 0, where I was setting the password, console 0. I say no login. I say I don't want any login. And also I say no password. So what is this no, guys? No means removing something, right? Earlier, what I gave when I was configuring the router, I was giving this no. I was giving password, console pass. Now what I'm giving no password. I gave login. Now what I'm giving no login. So which means when I give no login, no password, there is no, now the console port is open. Now there is no restriction. The console port is now open. It just came to the original position. Earlier it was open, right? We set a password. Now again it becomes open by removing it, right? So now we'll remove it. I removed it because I'm just going to set the username password. For that, I'm going to come out of the console interface. Can you see? I gave exit. I came out of the console interface. Here I'm going to create a username password. Username admin 1 secret, right? Again, the secret keyword means that the password of the admin will be stored in the hash format, right? This is what the secret is. So, you understand, right? If you use password base, if you use password, then it's going to be a plain text password. If it is secret, then it's going to be a hash. Okay, so admin 1 secret, and I'm just going to have a password called admin 1 pass. Okay, now we created a user account in the router, which is admin 1 and admin 1 pass. Okay, one more user I'm going to create, admin 2 secret, admin 2 pass. Even these passwords are very easy to guess, guys. But just it's a lab, I'm using these passwords. But in real time, never use these easy passwords and all. Okay, yes. Now, when I see the running configuration, do show run. It's a very handy command. You can see all configurations in one command, right? With the help of show run or do show run. So already the enable mode password is also set. Okay. And also when I go here, can you see the username password is also created? This also you can see in the running configuration. Right? Username admin1, password is admin1 pass, but it has been hashed. And username admin2, and the password is admin2 pass, right? That is also hashed. Okay. Yes. Now let's go and then go back to the line console 0. Right. Again, going to the console interface. Now I'm gonna say I want login local. This login local says that this local keyword says that I need the username password combination to login. I need a login, but what I need the username password combination to login local. So now I gave login local. Let me exit out of this session, give exit multiple times, and finally now what it's asking for? It's asking for username password, not just password. Earlier it was asking just password. Now it's asking for username password. So what is username? Admin, you can log in as admin 1 or admin 2, whoever it is, you can log in. I'm going to log in as admin 1 pass. Can you see? Right there, I logged in. And in the router, there is also command to see which user has logged in, show users. Now, when I give show users, it says that admin 1 has logged in. On which interface? On which connection? Console connection. On the console 0 interface, who logged in? Admin 1 logged in. Okay. Yes. Now let me exit. Again, logging in again with admin 2. Password is admin 2 pass, I think. Yeah. So now when I give show users, you can see that right now console 0 in console 0 interface, who has logged in? Admin 2 has been logged in. What is console 0, guys? This is what console 0 is. Right? This guy, this one comes, the first console interface is always called as console 0. Right? And if you have one more console interface on the router, that will be called as console 1. But here, this router model or most of the router models will have only one console interface. So they are called basically like what? Console 0. All right. Okay. So I think you understood a few things today. So one is, how do you set the password? Right? Let me wrap, because I feel that I just went too fast in this class. Maybe you can check the recordings also. So when we talk about router security, we had two things, right? So one is you set the password to the enable mode of the router, enable mode. Okay. The other one is you set the password to the console interface, console interface. Okay. In enable mode, which is better? Generally, password itself, which what and all ways you have. You can have a plain text password, which is not good. Here also you can have a plain text password, which is also not good. Plain text. Both sides you can have plain text, but not recommended. Can we encrypt it? Can we encrypt? Yes, encryption possible to the password. Encrypt the password. You can also encrypt here as well, right? Whatever that's possible here, password, when it comes to password, plain text encryption, both are possible in both ways. You can even encrypt the password here. Okay. So it's not recommended. Here also not recommended, not recommended, not recommended. So you can basically hash the password, right? So even hashing also, what you have to do when you hash, use a strong password. Okay, here also you can hash and use a strong password. Hash it and then use a strong password. Here you can have only password, right? Only password is possible, only password. You cannot have username password for the enable mode. It's only going to be password here. But here we're going to have, you can have only password combination also, only password alone you can have, or you can have username password also. Right? This is possible only in the console interface, not in the enable mode. The only option is you can set only passwords, not username password. But here you can have username password. Got it? Okay. So router security means this is, I'm talking about the logical security, logical security of the router. Okay, which is setting a password to the router. How can we secure the router? That is what we understood. If we take so kind of we completed router security, console. We understood what is console, and we also understood what is console interface security. Okay, so next we have to start with remote access, telnet versus SSH. Okay, so maybe I'll start that. I'll have that tomorrow, guys. Yeah. So see, when it comes to, I think these switching concepts, I'll try because I'm planning to skip this in our bootcamp. Live classes, maybe I'll give the recordings of my previous batches for these concepts. So after dynamic routing, mostly we'll be jumping to ACL. We'll try to complete these guys first, and whatever time we have left out with, then we can start with switching. Okay, switching is important only, but here due to time constraint, either we'll have it as a live class or maybe the recorded sessions. We'll do that way. Okay. So tomorrow I'm going to discuss about these two ways. So these topics tomorrow will take time to complete, do the labs and all. And again, after that, we're going to start with ACLs, port numbers, NAT, basics, firewall, VPN. Okay, for sure, I can complete these things. This topic alone, I'll check. Okay, whatever time left, I'll discuss about this topic also. Okay. So yes, guys. So then, I think we can complete today's class. Please go and again, I'm recommending that. So please practice submitting a lot, guys. Submitting class B, I did myself everything. But submitting class A, I gave you as an exercises. You guys have to complete that. And also please make sure that you do submitting exercises also. There are so many websites which gives options to practice submitting. Right? I cannot stress enough how important submitting is. Right? So I can say like this, you can just understand the importance of submitting in this way. Right? So if you take any technical topic, right, it can be networking, right, or it can be programming, or it can be database, whatever it is, right? See, there are many websites which will specifically talk about certain technologies, right? In networking alone, right, there are maybe 1,000+ websites, 1,000+ websites, which is corely designed just for the one topic called submitting. Okay, so I've never seen any concept has got these many websites. So 1,000+ websites has been designed just for us to practice submitting. So which means you have to understand how important that topic is. Like I believe you guys already understood. If you didn't understand the importance of submitting, please go and search guys. So when you search for submitting, there are thousands of websites that will come up, right? Even you can see there are many applications, right? There are many applications, they are designed specifically for submitting. I've never seen this. I've never seen any specific topic has got an application for it, right? You can just go to Google Play or Apple Store, search for submitting. You'll be able to see many applications listing over there. So the only topic which has got, popularity, importance, so that some people have designed an app for it. Yeah, that is only this topic. 1,000+ websites giving you exercises, many applications giving you exercise on submitting. That is the only topic, right? There are many topics in networking, right? There are thousands of topics in networking, but one topic has got very important submitting, right? You can even compare programming or database, whatever the case. I've never seen these many websites contributing for one topic, that is submitting topic. Right? So understand the importance of it and try to practice it very well. So please practice submitting exercise also. Again, I'm telling you the same thing only, right? If it is my actual class, right, which I do take for CCNA, I spend more time on submitting, right? And I cannot spend more time here. If I spend more time for submitting, I'll not be able to cover the remaining courses, right? Again, we have many batches coming up, and usually I'll be occupied in this timing. So 6:30 to 8:30, usually I'll have my actual class, right? I've postponed that batch next week, Monday. I'm starting with. So in between, I need to finish this free boot camp for you guys. So that is the reason I'm just wrapping up submitting so quickly, or else I would have given at least some 10 hours of time for you guys to practice submitting. But unfortunately, we don't have it. So I'm just leaving it to you. Understand the importance, right? Take my ebook, take the recording, solve it, and if you have any doubts, you can also reach me out on WhatsApp. Right? I'm happy to help you, but it may take some time. I'm kind of busy. So please post the message in WhatsApp. So whenever I get time, I'll respond to you guys. Okay. Okay, so then we'll finish it here. We cannot start any new topic now. I know some 10-15 minutes time is left, but we cannot start any new topic now. So we'll close it over here. So tomorrow we're going to discuss about remote access, which is telnet and SSH, very important. And also we're going to start OSPF, and we're going to understand OSPF very basically. Okay. Yes. So we'll finish it here, guys. See you guys tomorrow. Bye. Thanks for joining the session.